Padre Pio's gaze, the reflection of Jesus. There are gazes that penetrate the soul, gazes that are not of this world, that have seen beyond the veil of the visible, gazes that, when they rest on something sacred, reveal a profound mystery to us. Padre Pio's gaze was like that. It was not that of a simple priest, nor that of a pious man. It was the gaze of a soul burning with love for Christ, who lived consumed by the fire of adoration. When he raised his eyes to heaven, when his gaze rested on the consecrated host, something in him was transfigured. His face changed. His expression was filled with wonder, with a love so great that it was impossible not to be moved by it. They say that whoever saw him celebrate Holy Mass was never the same again, that his gaze spoke more than any sermon because it reflected the absolute certainty of the real presence of God. This is the story of his gaze, and this is the invitation to learn to look as he did. The gaze of adoration. When Padre Pio celebrated Holy Mass, the world disappeared for him. His face became serious, his eyes filled with light, and his whole body seemed to tremble before the mystery. The images and videos of his Mass show it clearly. When he raised the chalice, when he contemplated the consecrated host, his gaze was not that of an ordinary man. It was the gaze of a soul surrendered to its God. It is easier for the world to survive without the sun than without Holy Mass, he said. And his gaze confirmed it. Because he was not looking at the bread. He was not looking at the wine. He was looking at his Lord, the love of his life. And in that gaze, one could see the reflection of an unshakable faith, of an absolute certainty. He gazed with the same adoration with which the angels contemplate the face of God. The gaze of a transfigured soul. The saints who have been touched by the divine fire cannot hide it in their eyes. It is as if, having seen God, something of that light remains in their gaze. St. Francis of Assisi, St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross. They all experienced ecstasy in prayer, and those who saw them felt that their eyes no longer belonged to this world. It was the same with Padre Pio. Witnesses of his Mass recount that, at the moment of consecration, his face lit up in an indescribable way. His gaze was lost in something that others could not see. Some said that he saw Christ himself on the altar. Others claimed that he entered into communion with the Passion, that he relived the sacrifice of Calvary. However it was, no one remained indifferent before those eyes full of fire. Because when someone has seen God, their gaze betrays it. The call to our own adoration. What does Padre Pio's gaze tell us today? What can we learn from him?